No one expected to find a child. The rescue ships arrived late, drifting around the broken alien vessel that floated silently near the edge of known space. The ship was destroyed, torn open by unknown forces. Most rescue crews came for technology, data, and survivors who could speak. No one expected something small, weak, and quiet inside the wreck. Lights moved slowly through smoke and broken metal. Alien rescuers searched quickly. Marking rooms as empty, they spoke in cold voices, saying there was nothing valuable left. Then a human engineer named Elias heard a sound. It was not a voice, it was a soft breath, shaky and slow. Elias followed the sound into a narrow corner of the ship. Behind a broken wall panel, he saw her, a tiny alien girl. Curled into herself, her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and filled with fear. She was no taller than a human child, maybe smaller. She was alive. But barely. Elias froze. He had seen many things in space. He had never seen a child left behind. He called the others. They came and looked, then looked away. She has no identification, one alien officer said. No species mark, said another. She is unregistered, a third added. Their voices were calm, almost bored. They marked her as unknown life form, then they closed their tablets. Leave her, one officer said. There are no orders to recover unknown cargo. Elias felt something break inside him. She's not cargo, he said quietly. She's a child, the officers did not argue. They simply turned away to them. Rules mattered more than life. The tiny alien girl watched them go. Her small hands trembled. Her eyes followed Elias. The only one still there, Elias knelt beside her, slowly. He removed his helmet so she could see his face. He spoke softly, using simple words. It's okay, he said. You're not alone. She did not understand his language, but she understood his tone. Her breathing slowed, just a little. Elias checked his scanner. Her body was weak, hungry, and cold. She had been alone for a long time. What's your name? Elias asked gently. The girl blinked, confused. She made a small sound. Broken and unsure. It was not a name Elias swallowed in his world. A name meant something. It meant you belonged. It meant someone saw you. He looked at her small face and thought of Earth. Of children laughing, of families, of warmth. I'll give you a name, he said. My people do that when someone is important. He paused. Choosing carefully, then he smiled. Luma, he said. Your name is Luma. The girl's eyes widened. The sound echoed softly in her mind. Something shifted inside her. For the first time, she was not just alive. She was someone. Luma. She reached out and wrapped her tiny fingers around Elias's glove. Her grip was weak, but it was real. Elias stood up and activated his communicator. This child is under my protection, he said. I am bringing her with me. The response was immediate. You cannot do that, the officers replied. Human rules do not apply here. She is unclaimed. Elias looked down at Luma. She looked back at him, trusting him without knowing why. She is claimed, Elias said firmly. I named her. Silence filled the channel. Across the ship, across the fleet, something changed. No alarm sounded, no weapons fired. But the galaxy noticed. A human had broken protocol. Not for power, not for control, but for a child and Luma. The tiny alien girl who was once nothing to the universe closed her eyes in safety for the first time, unaware that her name would soon change everything. Elias did not leave the ship immediately. He stayed beside Luma, holding her gently as alarms echoed through the broken vessel. Other rescue teams moved fast, but none came close to them. They watched from a distance. Whispering, judging, calculating, Luma stayed close to Elias. Her small fingers held his sleeve as if letting go would make her disappear. Every sound made her flinch. Every shadow scared her. Elias adjusted his jacket and wrapped it around her thin body. She was light, Far too late. He felt anger rise inside him. Not loud anger, but quiet and heavy, when they finally left the wreck. The docking bay felt cold and bright. Alien officers surrounded them. Their eyes studied Luma like she was a problem. Not a child, human, one officer said. You have broken rescue protocol. You claimed an unregistered life form. Elias did not raise his voice. He did not argue. He simply answered. She has a name. Her name is Luma. The officers paused. Names meant nothing to them. But something about the way he said it made them uncomfortable. Luma looked around, frightened by the many faces. Her grip tightened. She hid her face against Elias's chest. It's okay, Elias whispered. No one will hurt you. She did not understand the words. But she understood the promise. They were taken to a holding station. Cold walls, bright lights, and long waiting rooms. Luma had never seen a place like this. She refused to sit alone. Whenever Elias tried to place her down, she cried softly, not loud, not angry. Just broken sounds of fear, so he stayed. He sat on the floor with her. Ignoring the stares, he shared his food. Even though it was not made for her kind, he adjusted it, softened it, tested it carefully, to everyone's surprise. Luma ate, slowly, carefully. As if afraid the food would vanish, doctors arrived. Alien doctors with sharp tools and cold hands. They wanted to scan her, test her, measure her. Luma panicked. She screamed for the first time. Not in pain but in fear. Elias stood up immediately. She stays with me, he said. No tests without me, the doctors argued. But something strange happened. Human ships nearby sent a signal. They supported him. More humans arrived. Medics, engineers, pilots. They stood quietly beside Elias. No weapons raised, just presence. Luma felt it. The room felt different, less cold, less dangerous. When a doctor finally touched her gently, Luma did not react with fear. She watched Elias instead. As long as he was there, she felt safe later. When the station lights dimmed, Elias stayed awake. Luma slept on his chest. Her breathing soft and steady. He spoke quietly. Not to anyone else, just to her. I don't know where you came from. I don't know what you are. But you matter, Luma stirred. Her eyes opened slightly. She made a small sound. Lu, then again. Ma. Elias froze. She was trying to say her name. Tears filled his eyes, not from sadness, but from something deeper. Across the station, messages spread. A human had named a child, and now that child responded only to humans. Some alien leaders felt fear, others felt shame, a few felt curiosity. One question echoed across the galaxy. Why would humans protect something so small? So weak, so unknown. Luma slept peacefully. Unaware of politics, unaware of laws. She only knew one thing when she had no one. A human gave her a name, and that name had made her feel alive. The station did not stay quiet for long. News traveled faster than ships. Across systems and species, one message spread. A human had claimed a nameless alien child. At first, many laughed. They called it a human weakness, a soft heart problem. A short story that would be forgotten. But then the reports changed. Luma was responding only to humans. Her body showed signs of strange energy patterns, patterns no scanner could fully explain. Alien leaders began to worry. If the child was powerful, then who would control her? Meetings were called. Halls filled with voices and fear. Some spoke of danger, others spoke of opportunity. She could be a weapon, one leader said, or a threat, another replied. A single unknown life form should not be protected. Elias was summoned. He stood alone in a large chamber. Tall figures surrounded him. Cold lights shined down. Luma sat in his arms, calm and quiet. Human, a voice echoed. You have caused disorder. You must release the child for study. Elias did not bow. He did not step back. She is not yours, he said. She is a child. Luma felt the tension. Her small body tightened. The lights flickered slightly. A soft glow appeared around her hands. The room went silent. Energy rippled across the chamber. Not violent, not sharp, just alive. The leaders stepped back. Fear replaced control. "See," one whispered, "she is dangerous." Elias held Luma closer. "She is afraid," he said. "You would be too." Security forces moved forward. Weapons powered on. The air felt heavy. Before anyone could act, human signals filled the chamber. Screens lit up. Human fleets had arrived. Not in attack formation, not aggressive, just present. Human commanders spoke calmly. "The child is under human protection. She will not be taken." The galaxy had never seen this. Humans standing together, not for territory, not for resources, but for one small life. Luma looked at the screens. She saw human faces. Different colors, different voices. All watching her. For the first time, she did not hide. She lifted her hand. The glow returned, this time warmer, gentler. Systems across the station stabilized. Power surges stopped. Broken panels repaired themselves slowly. Engineers stared in shock. "She's fixing the station," someone whispered. The leaders realized the truth too late. The child was not a weapon, she was a healer. And fear had almost destroyed her. The council argued again. But their voices sounded small now. Elias spoke once more, clear and strong. "She feels what you feel. When you fear her, she hurts. When she feels safe, she heals." Silence returned, across human space. Messages spread. Parents watched. Children watched. Soldiers watched. They saw a tiny alien girl, standing between fear and kindness, and humans made a decision. If the galaxy would not protect her, then humanity would. Luma leaned her head against Elias. Tired but calm, she whispered a sound. Not a word, but a feeling. Elias smiled softly. "She's learning," he said. The leaders felt something they had not felt in a long time. Shame. They had judged power by strength. Humans judged it by care, and the galaxy began to understand. This was not the story of a dangerous child. This was the story of humanity, and it was only beginning. The council chamber remained silent long after Elias finished speaking. No one rushed to give orders. No one raised a weapon. Fear still lived in the room. But it was changing shape outside the station. Human ships continued to arrive, not hundreds, not thousands. Just enough to be seen, enough to be understood. They came from different human worlds, different cultures, different beliefs, yet they all sent the same message. The child stays protected, inside the chamber. Alien leaders argued quietly. Some warned that humans were crossing a dangerous line. Others admitted they had no right to take a child by force. Luma felt the tension even when no one spoke. Her glow returned, soft and steady, not bright enough to scare anyone. Just enough to remind them she was alive. Elias sat with her near the center of the room. He did not speak, he did not threaten, he simply stayed. Across human space, something rare was happening. News channels stopped showing wars and trade talks. They showed Luma, a tiny alien girl holding the sleeve of a human engineer. Parents watched with their children. Teachers paused their lessons. Doctors stopped in busy halls. Soldiers watched from quiet ships. They did not see an alien. They saw a child. Human leaders gathered, not in secret rooms, but in open broadcasts. They spoke honestly. Without long speeches, a human representative stood before the galaxy. "We do not know what she will become, but we know what she is. She is a child." Those words echoed far beyond the station. Then came the vote, not forced, not rushed. Every human world was given a choice. Protect the child, or step away. The result was not perfect. Some worlds hesitated, some feared consequences. But when the final count appeared, the galaxy gasped. Humanity had chosen protection. Not protection through force, not protection through ownership, but protection through responsibility. The council chamber received the result in real time. Screens lit up with human signals. Green markers filled the display. Luma looked at the lights with curiosity. She reached toward them. Her glow reacted gently. As if she felt something warm. She feels it, Elias whispered. She knows. The alien leaders felt it too. Something they could not explain, a pressure not of power, but of unity. Humans were not demanding control, they were offering duty. A senior alien voice finally spoke. If we allow this, every species will expect the same, a human replied calmly. Every child deserves the same. The words landed hard. Harder than any threat. Luma stood on her own for the first time. Her legs shook, but she did not fall. Elias stayed close, ready to catch her. She looked around the chamber. At faces filled with fear, at faces filled with wonder. Then she did something no one expected. She reached out, her glow spread softly across the room. Not entering minds, not changing thoughts. Only sharing a feeling, warmth, safety, belonging. Some leaders felt tears they did not understand. Others felt memories long buried, of being young, of being helpless. The council made its decision. Not loudly, not proudly, but carefully. The child would not be taken. She would not be studied by force. She would not be treated as property. She would be protected under human care. With observers from other species invited. Not to control, but to learn, Luma leaned against Elias. Exhausted, her glow faded, but her calm remained. Across the galaxy, the story changed. It was no longer about a strange alien child. It was about a choice. Humanity had spoken. Not with weapons, not with fear, but with one simple truth. No child stands alone. And the universe understood. This was only the beginning of what humanity would become. The safe world was quiet. Too quiet for those who watched from afar. But for Luma, the silence felt gentle. Human caretakers moved slowly around her. They spoke softly. They waited for her trust instead of demanding it. Luma grew stronger each day, not quickly, not suddenly. But steadily, she learned human sounds. Simple words, soft laughter. Elias stayed close. Always nearby, not as a guard, not as an owner, as family one night. As stars filled the sky above the new world, Luma became restless. Her glow flickered in uneven waves. Elias felt it immediately. Something was wrong. He sat beside her and spoke gently. "You're safe. You don't have to be afraid." Luma looked at him. Her eyes held something heavy. Something old. She touched her chest. Her glow spread outward. Not bright, but deep. Images filled the air. Not sharp pictures, but feelings. Memories without words. The humans watching froze. They were seeing what Luma remembered. A world full of light. Fields of living color. Cities grown, not built. Her people were healers, travelers. They went to broken worlds and made them whole. They did not take, they gave. Then came fear. Strangers arrived, weapons followed. Luma's people tried to help. Tried to calm, tried to heal. They were destroyed instead. The vision darkened. Fire, loss, silence. Luma was hidden away, placed into a small ship. Sent into space alone, not to escape, but to survive. Elias felt his breath shake. The room felt heavy. "She's the last one," someone whispered. Luma's glow dimmed. The memories ended. She collapsed into Elias's arms. Humans did not cheer. They did not speak loudly. They understood the weight of being the last. Across the galaxy, the truth spread. The tiny alien girl was not unknown. She was priceless. Some alien leaders felt regret. Others felt fear. If her kind returned through her, what would she remember? Humans made another choice. They sealed her location, not to hide power, but to protect a life. They invited allies, doctors, teachers. Artists, not soldiers. Luma woke slowly, confused at first, then calm. She looked around and saw human faces, watching, waiting. She smiled, small and unsure. Elias smiled back. "You showed us," he said softly. Luma touched his hand and tried a word, a simple one. "Home," the word echoed inside every human listening. Humans began to change, not loudly, not proudly, but deeply. Lost children were treated differently. Refugees found doors open. Borders softened. Other species watched. Some followed, some resisted, but the idea had been planted. Luma spent her days learning, not about power, but about choice. She laughed more. She slept without fear at night. She watched the stars, her glow steady. She was not rebuilding her people, not yet. She was healing herself. And humanity stood guard, not as rulers of the galaxy, but as protectors of one small light, unaware that the future was already changing around them. The galaxy watched humans more closely than ever before. Not because of their ships, not because of their weapons, but because of how they treated one small child. Human leaders met again, this time not to argue, but to plan. They asked a simple question: what kind of species protects a child who is not their own? The answer was not written in law, it was written in action. Humanity did not build a fortress around Luma, they built a life. They created schools where learning was slow and gentle. Places where fear had no voice. Doctors trained to heal without cutting. Scientists learned to observe without taking. Luma grew within that care. Her glow became steady and calm. No longer reacting to fear, but responding to kindness. Other species sent observers, at first suspicious, then confused. Humans did not demand payment. They did not ask for favors. They did not trade access for power. They simply protected her. This confused the galaxy. One alien delegate asked Elias, "What do humans gain from this?" Elias answered honestly, "We gain who we become, across human space." Changes spread, slow but clear. Lost alien children were welcomed. Human laws were rewritten. A new rule was added. No child belongs to the state. No child belongs to science. Every child belongs to safety. Other species resisted. They said it was weak. They said it was dangerous. Then the results appeared. Conflicts ended faster. Trust formed where fear once lived. Species that copied the human model saw fewer uprisings. Protection created peace. Luma sensed it all. Even when no one told her, one day, she stood before a gathering of many species. Small, quiet, Elias stayed close, but she stepped forward on her own. Her glow spread softly, not as a force, but as a message. She showed them what she felt among humans. Warmth, patience, choice. Some felt comfort, others felt shame. She did not speak words, she did not accuse. She only shared. After that day, something shifted. The galaxy began to change direction. Humanity was no longer seen as loud or reckless. They were seen as steady, not conquerors, but guardians. Luma returned to her quiet world. She asked Elias a question one evening. "Why?" Elias understood what she meant. "Why protect me?" He thought carefully, then answered simply. "Because someone should have protected you sooner," Luma nodded. She understood. Her glow brightened, not wildly, but with purpose. She was no longer just surviving, she was choosing. She chose to learn human languages. Human stories, human mistakes, she chose to help quietly. Healing small things, fixing broken soil. Calming wounded minds, humans never asked her to do more. That was the difference. Other species noticed. Power given freely became a gift. Power demanded became a wound. Humanity's reputation changed, not through fear, but through trust. They had drawn a line across the stars, not in space, but in meaning. A line that said, life before law, care before control. Luma stood under the stars one night, her glow reflected in the sky. She was no longer afraid of being alone, because humanity had chosen something rare. They chose to become protectors, and the galaxy knew. Once a species makes that choice, everything that follows must change. Time passed gently, not in wars, not in great disasters, but in quiet growth. Luma was no longer the frightened child found in a broken ship. She walked with confidence now, her glow calm and warm. Like a steady light instead of a warning, humans never rushed her. They never told her what she must become. They let her choose. That freedom shaped her more than power ever could. Years later, the galaxy gathered again, not for conflict, not for fear, but for listening. Luma stood before many species. Still small compared to most, but no longer fragile. Elias stood behind her. Not as a protector now, but as family. Luma spoke using simple words, human words. Words she had learned with care. I was nothing, she said softly. No name, no place. The room stayed silent. A human gave me a name, and when he did, I became someone. Images appeared around her, not forced, not overwhelming. Moments of her life, the wrecked ship, the fear. The first warmth, then moments of humanity. Hands reaching, voices calming, doors opening. You did not save me because I was special, she continued. You saved me before you knew. That truth struck deep. You did not protect me for power. You protected me because I was small. Some leaders lowered their heads. Luma lifted her hand. Her glow spread across the chamber one last time. Not to heal, not to fix, but to thank. When I was alone, she said, you stood with me. And because of that, I stand with all children now. The galaxy felt it. Not a command, not a threat, a promise. Humanity had not built statues. They had not claimed credit. They had not written songs about victory. Their reward was something quieter. Other species changed, slowly, reluctantly at first. They rewrote laws, they questioned old rules. They looked at children differently. The phrase spread across systems, first spoken by humans, then repeated by others. A name is protection. Luma returned to her world after the gathering. Not as a ruler, not as a symbol, but as herself. She planted living lights across the land. Each one growing gently, healing soil, restoring balance. Humans helped without controlling. They learned when to step back. Elias grew older, his hands slower, his steps softer. One evening, he sat beside Luma under the stars. You changed everything, he said quietly. Luma smiled and shook her head. You did, she replied. You chose, that was the truth. The galaxy did not change because of a powerful child. It changed because a human made a small choice. To kneel, to care, to give a name, long after Elias was gone. Long after Luma became a story told to children, the lesson remained. Humanity was remembered not as conquerors of space, but as guardians of the small. And whenever a lost child was found among the stars, someone would speak softly. What is your name? Because the universe had learned. Everything changes when someone chooses to care.